How'd you come up with that?
What?
I'm gonna be a movie star. Day one, 3 years old.
I don't know. Yeah, that's all I ever wanted to do from the time I could speak. I have no clue. And we lived in a big house, and there was 15 of us in the house. And we had a big set of encyclopedias at the top of our stairs. And I would always go up there and look up Hollywood. Look up Hollywood this. And I remember I would find, every time I saw an address, I would write a letter. Hi, my name is Miguel Núñez. I live at 640 Cemetery Street, Wilson, North Carolina. I want to be an agent. Can you help me? And I would just send all these letters. I probably sent 100 letters growing up. And everybody used to always wonder, wow, I would always run to the mailbox and climb up on the chair to get the mail. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for a response. Then I got here and found out years later I was writing like the Screen Actors Guild building, the American Federation of Arts and Science, anything that had an address, I would do it. It's just I don't know where it came from.
So did you take the bus over, the train over?
I ran away. We had, like I said, it was so many people. It had never been a point where there was nobody in our home.
Got you.
Because there was so many. And I was just telling everybody, when I graduated, I'm going to graduate. I told them every day from the first grade through the 12th. June, July, August, September, October. 4 months later, I'm working. And one day I was just working. I got a check. And I was like, I could go right now. I should do Hollywood right now. If I cash a check, I can go. And I just went, and I did it. I just quit, rushed home, packed a suitcase, made 3 bologna sandwiches. I thought that would get me to California. And I packed the bag and I walked over to the bus station. I just ran away. I just did it because I said, if I don't get out of Wilson, I'll never do it. I'll never do it here in Wilson. If I don't do it now while I got the money, I'm going to put it off for more and more. And I got on that bus, took 5 days to get here. I never realized the seriousness of what I had actually done, though.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm going to be, I told everybody on the bus, as soon as I'm sitting there like that, and I'm scared because the bus station right in the middle of town, if my grandparents would have saw me there, I would have got killed. So once the bus started going, that was it. I just started looking at the the places that I ran, just thinking about,
right,
I'm on my way, that's it. And then as soon as we got out of town, that was it. That was gone. I was telling everybody on the bus, my name is Miguel Núñez, I'm going to be a movie star, I'm going to Hollywood, and that was it. I thought I was going to get here and you're going to see those movie lights that go across the air. I thought I was going to get here and I was going to see somebody. I was like, well, what are you going to do when you get there? I was like, I'm going to be an actor, I'm going to be a movie star. So how you going to do it? You don't know anybody in California. I'm going to meet somebody, they're going to help me, and that's it. That's all I thought. That's how naive I was.
Wow.
And to the bus, because what happened was when I went to the bus station, I said, can I get a ticket to Hollywood? And he was like, no. That white man said, no. I was like, oh, shoot. So I thought you had to be an actor to get into Hollywood.
Wow.
So he said, you can go to Los Angeles, California. I said, California? Yeah, okay. All right, so I bought a ticket. But what I didn't know was Trailways goes downtown L.A. on Skid Row, 6 in Main.
That's different than Hollywood.
Goes to Hollywood. That's why he said no, but I didn't know that until months later. But so I get on the bus and I get there, and as you know, Skid Row is the worst street in the entire state of California. And at that time, the Skid Row slasher was going on and all of that stuff. But I didn't know any of this stuff at the time. So I landed down there, and when I saw, that's when everything hit me. And I saw, I wasn't out there, and it was the Skid Row, and I literally, because I looked 10. Because I was 4'11" and weighed 75 pounds when I graduated from high school.
Whoa. You was light.
I grew in one summer.
Okay.
I always thought I was going to be a midget. And I literally think I grew because I used to pray every day to God, please, 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 God, please don't let me be a midget. I literally thought I would. And I think that's why I grew. I don't think I grew because I was going to grow anyway. I do believe that because I pray every night fervently, like the Bible said, a fervent prayer will be answered. I think that's why. But I just didn't know what to do. So the guy kicked me out of the bus station, started sleeping inside the bus station. Okay. And then the guy said, you can't sleep in here. So he kicked me out. I went behind the bus station. And then I started walking down. I went to the Cecil Hotel right across the street. That's where it was. The haunted hotel. You know about the Cecil Hotel? Go on Netflix if you don't know about the Cecil Hotel. And I didn't have enough to get in. So I went down the street and it was an all-night movie theater. $1. At least I could be inside because it was October, starting to get cold, so I'm inside. And the big ass rats are coming by, so I put my feet up in the chair, and I'm like, and I got my razor because everybody in North Carolina kept that little box razor with you. So I'm like this, and this was God's way of just telling me to be careful early. So I'm in the theater like that, and I look up like that, and it's like you're in the movie theater. Some guy in the movie theater, like in the third row, looking up at the theater like this. Seemed like every time I woke up, his head was closer and closer until the last time I woke up. Big ass nasty drunk guy sitting next to me, and I put my razor like this, and he jumped up and ran. So from that point on, I just stayed up all night walking and slept in the daytime. I didn't know what to think. I never been out of. So I was a baby when I left New York. I never been. Everybody was yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, yes no ma'am, no ma'am,
Right.
yes sir, yes sir, no ma'am, and it was just. I'm gonna skip ahead because it's gonna take a long time, but
No, it can take. We
Okay.
don't.
I'm very curious.
Yeah,
Okay, so-
everybody
okay,
wants
good.
to know your story.
Okay, so now I just walk around. I didn't even know you could sleep while standing up. So I'm walking like this in the night because I didn't want to sleep. So one day I'm sleeping outside and it's raining downtown. I'm sleeping on a park bench. This guy said, "Hey, young blood, what are you doing out here? What are you doing out here?" And my name is Miguel Núñez. I'm from 640 Cemetery Street, Western North Carolina. I came to California to be a movie star.
Right.
He was like, "Oh God," I never understood why everybody was like, "Oh God." Right, and then he said, "Dude, da da da," and I said, "No, I don't. My family. I ran away. He said, "You need to go to the mission." I said, "What is the mission?" He said, "Union Rescue Mission." Now, if you go to the Union Rescue Mission, which is a huge building right now, there's a picture of me because people who came through the Union Rescue Mission and graduated. You know, some people on city council and other places in the city, and so and so he tells about Union Rescue. I go to the Union Rescue Mission, and it's just a nasty little hole in the wall church downtown LA at Main and like First. What you get in there before 7, and it's all bums, and you sit in the pews, and you can be inside.
Right.
And then you bum laying on you this side, and then I'd be waking up just scratching. I didn't know why I was itching, and then the guy said, "You got lice," and I said, "What's that?" He said, "Something growing on you." So then you go downstairs in the mission. Now I didn't have any clothes because
You came here with no clothes?
no, because in the bus station when I put my suitcase in that little thing where you put your 50 cent or quarter
Right,
and
right.
turn it, and you get the key.
Right.
That don't last for the weeks that I was on the street. That's only for like a little time. So when I went back to do the key don't work, you had to go back there and pay them money to get your suitcase.
Okay.
Which I didn't, so I had to wear the same thing. So when you go downstairs, they take you into this little room and they put you in a room and you take your clothes off and then they got that little thing that you twist and turn and pump and spray you with poison. Then you have to go into this shower, which to this day makes my hair stand up when I think about it because as soon as you turn the corner, just the smell and all the bum there and the urine and piss and everybody just trying to take a shower. You just look for the one place you can get the poison off you. They wash your clothes and they fold them up and you put them back on. And then you go upstairs and breakfast was a bowl of beans. They were supposed to be cooked, but some of them were hard. Like they were rushing it. Some of them were still hard. And donuts, broken donuts, because the donut shops would donate their broken donuts to the Union Rescue Mission. That was breakfast.
Okay.
So I kept doing that and doing that and doing that, and I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to think. I was just, I got to figure it out. So, next thing I know, I got ready to go get a check, and they said, we're not giving out checks anymore to people on the, no. So they said, young blood. They call me young blood because I was the youngest one in the mission at that time. Now it's like families. And they go, "Why are you here?" And they tell me, "Why are you here, young blood?" And I told them, "My name is Miguel A. I'm from 640 Cemetery Street. I came here to be a movie star."
Right.
So they told me I got on the county, basically. They told me to go to the welfare office downtown, which security guard always looked out for me, found out he got killed later. It was like the worst one on the planet in downtown. It's the worst unemployment office downtown on the planet. I always had somebody killed like once a week or some stuff like that there. And I went there for like 3 weeks. Really, it probably took a day, but I just didn't know how to get to what the places I had to go get this sign. Oh, you got to go back this. And I ended up getting on it, and then you get 3 meals, you get a hotel, you get to pick a hotel downtown. So I stayed at the Ford Hotel, 1000 East 7th Street. And all you do is sign a voucher. That's your rent. Every month you just sign, every week rather. And you get 3 meals a day at one of these county restaurants. Now you want to pick the ones you want to go to that were in your area. And and the one that I picked was in the lobby of the Ford Hotel. So I could eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now you wouldn't have want to own it if they gave it to you. but it was food and it was something. I was inside. There were no bathrooms in them. There you had to go down the hall in the middle of the night. You wait to use shit and there's about 9 people waiting already. It was like that kind of thing. But at least I was inside. So I started doing that, and then I got a job at Ranchos Los Amigos Hospital in Downey, California. They put everybody who were getting checks for the county. They put us on a program called the CETA program. They started that. And it was county educational training, something. They put all these people on county jobs, cleaning up the trash, taking out all that kind of stuff. So that's what I did at Ranchos Los Amigos Hospital in Downey. So I worked there, and I was saving up my money. And I made these 3 friends downtown. We were like a little homeless crew, and I started telling them the same thing. Man, I'm going to be a movie star. The same thing that people told me in North Carolina. In North Carolina, they say it's not possible. You're skinny, you're poor, you're ugly, and you're black. It's not going to happen. You're smart. You make A's and B's. Dude, you can do this, you can do that. I said, no, I'm telling you it's going to happen. So when I got here, they was like saying, I started telling them, they was like, it's not possible. You're down here in LA, you're homeless, you're skinny, you're looking crazy, It's not possible. And I told them the same thing. So I saved up my money. And by now I know you can go to Hollywood because I saw it on the bus. And
Right.
So I move us from downtown because once you get your first check from a county job, you have to pay your own rent at the but it was only $60 a month.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was a lot for that place. So I saved my money, moved us to Hollywood, moved us all in there so the rent would still be low for everybody. Saved up my money, and then I said, okay, I got about 4 months to do this. So I started looking up the Yellow Pages, looking up the studios and all the studios and where they're. So I started going. I said, I want to go to Universal Studio and walk around on the stages and see how they do it, so I can learn.
Right.
I'm like, man, they ain't gonna let you do that. I'm like. So I go anyway.
Right.
And I walk up to the gate and I say, my name is Miguel A, 647 3rd Street. I want to come in and just look around. I'm not going to do nothing. I'm not going to bother nobody. I just want to learn. He said, man, get your skinny ass out. You can't do that. So wait, he said, they're not going to let you do it. He said, you can't do that. That's one thing I never accepted and never understood. And that's why everybody out there, don't ever give up. Don't ever stop. So I was like, okay, I got to figure this out. So one day, friends of mine, we all save up. We go to the Universal Studios tour, and I go in there. And at one point, the guy goes, okay, everybody, get off the tram. And the tram's going to pick us up on the other side of this building. Now, we're going to go through and see how they do TV shows.
Okay.
Now, this is a simulation. I'm like, I want to see the real thing. I want to see no simulation. So they talk about taking us. He said, all right, everybody, come this way, come this way, come this way, come this way, come this way. And everybody was coming this way, coming this way, coming this way. I went that way. I went back that way. And walked around the studios and went inside. And I was watching all these big movies. I was there all day long. I found out when the last tram, and then did exactly what they said they're not gonna let you do, and exactly what he said I can't do, I did. And I just stayed there all day, and I just kept listening to what they were saying and what they were doing, and just
dope.
learning. And I did it. And the same thing I did with KTLA, KTTV, that little thing would come down, and I would notice that, they were doing construction. So sometimes the guy would be working on the cars and do like that to the guys, and I was like, got him. So I saved up, bought me a little pail, and I would sit across the street and wait. As soon as a car come, I'd go walking through. And he'd be like, and I get in there, and I was doing, and then they were doing What's Happening Now.
Oh, okay.
At that time.
Okay.
So I met Roger, and then he got me on as an extra on that show, and an extra on that show. So then the break really came. I was on a bus once, and this guy's on a bus going. And I was like, what are you doing? He said, I'm an actor. I said, me too. My name is Miguel Núñez. I came 647 3rd Street. Wasn't on the guy being an actor, And I want to do it. And he said, okay, hold on. I said, what is that? He said, this is a resume. Here. I said, can I see it? He said, yeah, you can keep it. Your resume, you got to get a pictures and an agent. And I said, what is it? He said, it's a cattle call he was going to. So I said, okay. So I was all excited now. I met an actor. So I look out, he get out the bus and go to this park downtown LA. And I'm looking and I'm like, I see cameras. So I go to the next stop. And I go to a copy place. I copy my name out, his name out, put my name on it, make a copy of it, and go back and get in line. I didn't know you didn't need a resume for a cattle call, but I ended up getting the lead in that.
That's amazing.
I got the lead in that commercial. And to this day, I can still remember the lines.
What's the line?
And like birds of a feather, we stick together. So when we eat out, we all agree. We go to Geno's unanimously. I go for Geno's sirloin, one thick, juicy quarter-pound of beef that's 100% unreal. That was the whole line. It was a basketball team walking into a Geno's restaurant, and I was doing all the talking. So I got it, and the guy said, then the director was asking me why I get out to the guy on this bus, and da-da-da-da. I said, there he is. And the guy came and said, you got it? And I said, yeah, I came back and did it. And he said, I'll take him to my agent. So he takes me to his agent, David Wilder. Bless his soul. I think he still might be lying. And then I was like, hey, my name is Miguel Núñez. I'm 647 3rd Street. Can I be an actor? And I was like, I want you to send me more of those cattle things. He said, you mean audition? I was talking about the cattle call. And he was like, yeah. I said, listen, I'm going to get him. I promise you. He's like, you know what? I like you. I'm going to sign you. I think you'll do it. Right? Of course he did. So he can get 10% of that commission.
Right.
And I think the next 47 auditions he sent me, I probably got 40 of them.